Got to give the people what they want. Bass, got a special guest. Miss Weeder is in the house. She's over there. You can't see her, but she's there. Trust it. She said she's not singing. I don't know why. So today, I'm talking about graphing lines, so let's get to it. Let's go ahead and put graphing lines from their equations. Okay? This is a big piece, one of the hugest pieces of algebra is being able to properly graph a line. So to make sure that you know how to do this right. Okay, so the equation of a line goes in this form: y equals mx plus b. All right? You've seen this in many different ways for years now, but I want to make sure everybody remembers what these things stand for. M, in this situation, stands for the slope of your line. So whatever number is in front of x, that's the slope of your line. B, whatever the last number is in the equation, is your y-intercept. Okay? Those are the two important pieces that you need to know for a line. Okay? So, to graph a line, what you need to do, first, identify slope and the y-intercept of that line. Second, you need to plot the point, at the y-intercept. And then third, what you need to do is count slope from the y-intercept to get your second point. This is what you need to do. We're going to talk about how to go through this whole process with examples. Okay? So, you're probably needing to pause because I'm moving really fast, but that's the beauty of video. You can pause whenever you like. I don't need to go slower. Alright, so let's take this example. Let's say it says graph. And it says graph y equals 1/3 x plus 2. Okay? First thing I'm recognizing is this is in that y equals mx plus b form already. This is in the proper form. So first thing you're going to do is identify what is the slope of this line and what's the y-intercept. The slope of this line, hopefully you're thinking, 1/3. Okay? So that means for this line I have a rise of 1 and a run of 3. I want you to write all of this out. What's the y-intercept? You should be thinking, oh, I got this fast. Y-intercept is 2. This is all the information that I need to be able to graph a line. Okay? So go ahead and draw yourself an x and y axis. Here's my y-axis. Here's my x-axis. Okay? Look back at those steps. What's the first thing it said? Hopefully you just look back and you saw, oh, I need to graph my y-intercept. So it says that the y-intercept is 2, so I need to go to 2 on the y-axis. 1, 2. Here's my y-intercept, right there. Here's what that means. We know a y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. So the reason that I put this point here is because I'm thinking, all right, well, I don't know what kind of line goes through this point, but I know no matter what I have, whether it's this dotted line, this line, maybe my line looks like this, maybe my line looks like that, somehow the line that I graph has to go through that point. So that's why I start off with putting the point right there. Okay? It has to cross at this piece. Now I just need to figure out exactly how does the line go through that piece. Alright? So I'm going to get rid of those dotted lines. And you should probably get rid of yours too. So I'm going to go back. And I'm going to say, okay. So I know my line goes through the y-intercept of 2. It crosses the y-axis at 2. So that's good. Now I need to count my slope. My slope tells me that I should rise 1 and run 3. So I just count slope from here. So my rise is 1, so I go up 1. My run is 3, so I go over 1, 2, 3. Here's my second point. Connect the dots. There's my line. The graph of this equation is this line. This line has a y-intercept of 2, and the slope, rise 1, run 3. Right? Now, we're going to graph this next line. The next line says graph y equals 3/2 x minus 5. You tell me what is the slope of this line and what is the y-intercept right now, please. Hopefully you just did that and you said, all right, the slope of this line is right here, 3 over 2. The y-intercept is this -5. Now, go ahead and graph it. Pause it and graph it before I do. Hopefully, you just pause the video and you graph this line like I asked you to, okay? So I'm going to show you what it should look like. So I'm going to label the 4 in each direction. Alright? I start off with my slope. I start off with my y-intercept. So in this case, my y-intercept was -5. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Here's my starting point. Now I check my slope. Remember, slope is rise over run. So in this case, my slope tells me I need to rise 3 and run 2. So rise 3. I started my y-intercept and rise 3. 1, 2, 3. And run 2. 1, 2. Here's my second point. Here's my line. Does your line match what mine looks like? Hopefully, it does. Okay? Next piece says, graph this. Example 3 says y equals -1/4 x plus 3. Tell me the slope and the y-intercept. Hopefully you just pause and you say, I got this fast. Slope is -1/4, which is a rise and a run. And the y-intercept of this one is 3. Okay? Why do you think this slope is going to be different? How is a negative slope going to be different? Think about that before you go ahead and graph this line. Once you've thought about that, graph this line as you think it should look. Pause it right here. Hopefully you just paused it and you graph the line because you listen, you're awesome, you pay attention, you do what I ask you to do, you don't just copy off of other people because you want to be great. So, you put all of this stuff together and you said, all right, Bass, I got you. You think you're so smart, you think you know everything, you got these new fancy glasses and you just think you're cool. Well, you're not, Bass, I'm smarter than you. And I'm like, great, I hope you are. So, you're still going to start at the same y-intercept. You're like, I knew that, Bass, and it was 3. 1, 2, 3. Got it, Bass. Now what? Then I said, think about, why is this slope different? You said, simple. Now my rise is -1. So instead of going up 1 and rising up, since my rise is negative, I'm going to go down. So you said, my rise is -1, so I go down 1. My run is 4, I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your second point. There's your line. It has a negative slope because it's going downhill. We've found out multiple ways how to pick a negative slope. Okay? This is how you graph a line. Right? Last thing. I'm just going to give one small piece for those of you who can maybe get to this. Right? Check my time. No, I'm not. We're at 11 minutes. All right. That's tonight's homework. Make sure you did it well. I want to make sure everybody gets out of this graphing lines. Hugest piece of it. If you got it down pat, please be ready to help someone in class the next time we do this. Big shout out to G Block. G Block, killing it for the last 2 days in a row, beginning to end. I love it. Out.